All right, today I'm going to try and work on putting some new weather stripping in. So we're going to work on taking apart the door and hopefully I can show you how to do that and it'll be helpful for you, because there's a couple parts that I struggled with and it didn't really make any sense to me. And then there's actually one little trick with the with this little window here to help get it out. So obviously you can see this stuff here is also really bad, and that will all get replaced too, but for now just one spot at a time. All right, so first thing I'm going to start with here is I've got some screwdrivers, which I'll need to take apart the door. Just a reminder, if you're not using the JIS, the Japanese Industrial Standard sizes, they fit so much better and they'll leave all of your screw heads looking a lot nicer. Okay, so taking apart the door, there's a bunch of stuff you can take off that you don't have to. For example, if you're just looking, so my year is a 74, and I believe this all kind of came with it. I have a non-USA, I believe it's from Costa Rica. I actually have the ambulance doors in the back, the vertical ones side by side there. And so my doors actually split into two, so I can remove some hardware, and this piece on the top here comes up and out, and then it leaves the lower half of the doors here. To do so, the first thing you need to do is make sure all of your rubber trim here on the outside is disconnected or split, removed. In my case, mine's actually just so worn off, it's just like crumbling away. It's pretty garbage. So I'll end up replacing that. But for now, I just want to make sure that those two spots here on both sides of the door are free and able to come apart, and they're not glued together by the weather strip for the whole door. Next thing we'll work on is removing a couple of screws. What I'm going to focus on, first thing I do is I put the window pretty much all the way down. You can actually crank it up to a certain point here, and you'll actually see inside the door, this is the lever arm that comes off of the crank handle. So if you feel like you do actually need to take the window out, which I feel like I might need to do, having the window partway up, it makes that much easier. If I need to do it, I'll show you at that point, but for now I'm just going to put the window mostly down. All right, we'll start taking out some screws. So this frame here runs all the way down and is actually connected to a couple of screws down here. And so I'm actually going to start and remove these lower screws. Try and keep in mind here, this one closest to the exit handle is a short little screw, and then this screw that comes and is closer to the vent window here is longer. The thing I need to remove is two screws that are on the front here. Looks like I'm actually missing a screw. All right, at this point, I believe I have all the screws out that I need to. So in the front here, I have two screws removed here. And my weather stripping is not connected, so that'll come apart easily. At the very bottom, I have a screw here, and then I have, on the top, I have a screw over here and one right here. And that should allow this assembly, to start to come out. Okay, so you're at this point, you're able to get the doors to start to separate, and you're probably trying to figure out what is holding the door or the top of the door down. So it took me a little while to figure this out, but if you actually need to rotate this front window all the way around, and then that will allow it to come all the way out. So we'll go ahead and take this whole assembly and we'll slide it right out. Just go nice and gentle. Just want to make sure I don't drop the glass, but here's your whole final assembly that slides down in there. And if you're going to replace all the window runner felts, this will be one of the ways that this would be the way to get to it all. Now will also be a great time to do this. So if you're gonna do this and new weather stripping for the window, now's a great time to do it. Okay, I had mentioned earlier, if you wanted to take the glass out, there would be a good opportunity to do that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and actually crank this up a little bit. Whoop. So I want to be mindful the glass is not sitting there. All right, well, I'm actually just gonna go ahead and just take this entire glass out because it's already out. But this is the track that runs on the bottom. And that track, the track interfaces with this arm. Okay, and there's a little roller on this arm. And you'll put those two together. When you drop the glass back in, you'll line them up. All right, so we're gonna focus on installing the weather stripping here. Still haven't found another rubber piece, but I'm just gonna go ahead and get the outer one on at least. So, yeah, looks like that should sit just like that. Those holes line up, so we're good. And then we can go ahead and start to work this in. Okay, so this belt does not work for the outside. This is for the inside. So I guess they're different, which I did not know that. So it has to do with how these are placed on here. And I don't know if you can see, but there's actually there's basically a different set of hole pattern on this side than there is on this side, which I did not know. So, and I just ordered more, and I'm pretty sure I just ordered more of the inside, not the outside. So, yeah, it's pretty funny because I have weather stripping for the outside, and I have these felt liners for the inside of the door. So either one of these are gonna work together. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and install the glass. I'm gonna show you how to do that here. So got the bottom of the glass. I've got the groove facing towards the inside of the vehicle, inside of the door. I've got my window handle turned up so that I could just see it here through this access hole. I'm gonna slide the window down, and then I'm just gonna line up this groove with this roller here, and then I'm gonna just slowly lower it down a touch, and then the window should be able to sit right in the door frame for you. And the window will sit right in the door frame, and it'll be right here. Just be really careful because it does rock back and forth pretty easily, and obviously it's hitting metal on both sides. Probably won't rock as much if there were two weather strips here, because it might actually hold it in the center and have a little bit of friction on it to hold it there, but yeah. And then without too many shadows, hopefully you can kind of see what's going on in there. All right, and then at this point we'll just go ahead and we'll slide the door frame back on there, and you can kind of see how the door frame is designed there. And then remember to turn this front window to get it to pop in correctly. All right, let's go ahead and get this door frame put back in. So I'm gonna line up the glass first on the bottom of the door here, and then rotate this forward and slide this down. And make sure this front piece matches up here. And then we get to a certain point, rotate the window. That'll fall down. And then the other thing you want to look out for is make sure this little tab stays behind on the inside of the door. And now we can go ahead and rotate this, close it. Yep, our window should work, and it does. And we'll go ahead and reinstall the screws that we were working with. All right, cool. Thanks for watching.